We've all been here. Squeaky, squealy brakes. So, is there a good way to fix this, or do you just need to replace your pads altogether? I looked up 3 methods that I found on YouTube and wanted to try it out and see if it would work. Let's give it a try. Before we get started, let's take a look at my back disc brake. There seems to be some sort of substance on it. I don't know if this is brake dust, oil, or what it is. I'm not really sure, but it's built up on there, and I definitely think this has to have something to do with the squealing. So along with cleaning the brake pads, I'm going to do a cleaning on the discs too. I saw a couple of tips online that sanding actually really helps your disc rotors. We're going to give it a shot here in just a little bit. But first, let's get these pads out and let's try multiple cleaning methods to see which one works best. As you can see, I've got my back and front brake pads. They seem to have a decent amount of life left in them, so I'm hoping that this cleaning actually works. Here we can see what a brand new brake pad looks like. I just so happen to have one laying around, and compare it to my back brake pad, and it's pretty gross looking. You can tell how dirty it is. I have no idea what has contaminated these, but they look pretty bad, and I'm hoping I can bring them back to what new brake pads look like. So let's go ahead and put the back brake pads in this bowl, and then I'm going to put a nice amount of alcohol on them and just let them soak. While that's soaking, I'm going to go ahead and put my front brake pads in this bowl, and then we'll put a little bit of Dawn soap on them, and then add some water and swish them around till they're nice and sudsy. Now that these pads have Dawn soap and water on them, I'm going to go ahead and rub them together like I saw online on several videos. Just rubbing them together with a good old friction, just like sandpaper. I was actually pretty impressed at how well this worked to get all the contaminants and dirt off the brake pads. Now the big question is, will this actually work in the end? It really made that water nasty and dirty, so I wound up replacing it and then repeating the process, a total of 2 times. Looks pretty good, almost brand new. We'll let these things dry over here on this paper towel, and then we'll go ahead and start on the ones that are actually in the alcohol. Now with my back brake pads and the alcohol, I'm going to do the same process, just rubbing them together to see if they get clean. I was really surprised with the alcohol. They actually became cleaner a lot faster than the Dawn soap. I don't know if it's just the Dawn soap is so slimy and messy that it seemed like it took longer, but with the alcohol, it seemed to clean up really quick. Now that I got these clean, I'm going to let them sit here on this paper towel and dry off for quite a while. Hopefully we won't have to use the sandpaper method, and one of these methods will work really well and stop the squeaking that we've been hearing. While we're waiting for the pads to dry, now's a good time to take off the rotors and actually get a good cleaning on them. You can do this without having to take them off your wheel, but being that these are center lock, they're just super easy to take on and off, so might as well do it this way. That way you get both sides clean really well. As you can see, they kind of have some weird grooves in them. I figure it's probably best to go ahead and resurface them with some sandpaper. I've seen this on several videos and I thought, you know what, this seems to make sense, might as well go ahead and do it. First, I went ahead and cleaned them off with some isopropyl alcohol, let that dry, and then I just took some high grit sandpaper, I want to say around 200, and just kind of rubbed them lightly all along the outer portion of the disc. From what I understand, the scratch marks that you'll see on this are actually really good for a braking surface. Now, time to test them out. I went ahead and bedded them in. Each brake I held for 5 seconds going up and down my driveway. And then, yeah, the back brake was still awful. The front brake was not the best. So, with that being said, since the back brake was so awful, I just went ahead and replaced the pads, and voila! With clean rotors and brand new pads, it worked really well. But I didn't have another set of pads with me, so I wanted to go ahead and give the sanding option a try. I clamped the front brake pads into my vise and then cleaned them off. I was actually really surprised at how dirty they looked after just going up and down my driveway. There's a clean one and a dirty one. And now they're both clean. And actually, to be honest with you, I'm kind of hoping that sanding works because it's a lot easier and cleaner than using alcohol or Dawn soap. Just clamp them in your vise, sand them down, and then clean them off just a little bit. So let's go ahead and let's give this one a try and see if this actually improved it. Or am I just going to be better off biting the bullet and spending a little bit of money on brand new pads? All right, there you go. I tried the Dawn soap, I tried the rubbing alcohol, and I tried the sandpaper. Which one do I think worked the best? It's really hard to say. I think that the pads on the back of my bike were so contaminated that there was no hope for them. I do want to say from now on, whenever I replace my brake pads, I'm going to take my rotors off and sand them down and clean them really well. Because I think that's probably a large part of the problem of why my brake pads probably don't last as long, is I've never done that with my rotors. And if there's contamination on the rotors and then you put brand new brake pads on, well, they're just gonna get ruined and they're not gonna work all that well from the get-go or in a few months. I mean, it'll just compound and they'll go bad really quickly. I do think these methods can work, but it just depends on the level of contamination that you have. If I were to do this again, I would strictly go with the sandpaper method. There is one other method that I did not try, and it's because I don't have a butane torch. But you can take a butane torch and you can heat them up, and what that's supposed to do is it's supposed to basically heat up and get rid of all the chemicals that are inside the brake pad. And some people say that that method actually works the best, but I didn't try that method because I didn't have a butane torch. So I think it was worth a shot trying this because there's no point in throwing money away if you can find a simple fix. And I was hoping that this would work. But from now on, what I'll probably do is take my brake pads out every once in a while, sand them down, clean off the rotors, and just make sure that my bike has a little bit more attention to detail on the brake area. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. If you want to become a member of the channel and get early releases of all my videos, click the join button down below. It's just 99 cents a month. As always, get out there, run, bike, build, and just have fun. We'll see you in the next one.